everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable start to your weekend. For those of you who start prepping on Friday, we are here. As for me, I have a very busy day ahead of me. Um, the end of this year is going to be at a hectic pace. There's a lot going on. I've shared a little bit of it. I am definitely excited about what is about to transpire. It has been a long time in the making. It has been very, very intense as a journey, but I am excited despite all of the challenges, all of the disruptions, all of the intense emotional moments. We are pushing towards something special, and I'm excited about that. Today is Focused Friday. We have theme days now to where each day I'm going to touch on a particular topic that may be a topic of interest to you. I want to very quickly point you to uh, the water. And I'm using the water as an analogy because um, it's going to be a theme of the focus. In the water, in the box, are two offers. One is to work with me directly, which is going to be something I'm scaling back over the next year to focus on returning to my first love, which is live events, being on stage and reaching more people. There's something definitely to be said about the one-on-one events, encounters. You can't get better results than to sit down with a person over a course of time and really help them break down what they're thinking, what they're doing, how they're behaving, and monitoring it and being directly engaged into what their goals are. So it's highly effective, but it's limited because it's only so many hours I have in a day. And so it's so many people I can see, and it's only so many people that can get to me. And so we are changing it. It's taking me back to, again, my first love, something I've done all my life, literally. And that's being uh, publicly and live engaged with an audience to help them achieve whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. And we're going to do something spectacular towards the end of this year. I'll be sharing that with you the coming week. But in the box is a chance to work with me. It is a discount, which again, prices have gone up. Obviously, the fact that there are going to be limited times to work with me means that the cost of working with me will also go up. But as of right now, there's an offer for that. There's also an offer for anyone who is really serious about starting a business but doesn't know where to start, may have even taken my course to teach you how to do it on your own and just haven't taken action. I followed up with everyone, and there are a bunch of you out there who haven't taken the first step. And so, whether you're not, this is an opportunity to have my company do it for you. That means from start to finish, build the program out based on what we determined is the area that you want to start your first company in. And we're going to build it out for you, and we are going to monitor it. Now, here's the thing. When I first did it, again, I'm thinking about the people who can't afford to work with me, the people who can't afford high tickets. So I'm pricing it not based on what it should be priced on value. I'm pricing it on accessibility. Well, I sent it to the wrong person. I sent it to one of my mentors, and they immediately said, "You're out of your mind." I'm thinking, "You don't think it's going to work?" I said, "No, I know you can get it done, and I know that it'll work. The problem is you're offering it way too low." And I was offering the initial offering at $59.95, $5,995. He said at least $25,000. He said, "You're giving somebody something that's going to make money for them month after month after month, year after year after year, and you're going to get paid one time for it, and you're the one setting it up. It's worth way more than that." And so I didn't take it up to 25, but I did take it up to 16. So it's 15,995. But right now, I had made an offer before I sent it to them that for 10 people, the first 10 people that took advantage of the offer, I was going to offer it for half price of the 59.95, which is 29.97. That offer ends today at 6 p.m. I'm going to honor it because I put it out there, and I'm going to honor it, but it ends at 6 p.m. and I'm only accepting 10 people. And it gives me a chance to prove my worth in that area. Not that I haven't already done it, but again, so again, this is it. You know, uh, there's some things here that I've had to learn. There have been some times in recent years where I've almost allowed my heart and the love for what I do to sink my business because I'm trying to reach people who I think can't reach me. And something my mentor said to me when they spoke with me yesterday, it says, you need to stop focusing so much on who can't afford you and focus on who can, or you will never be paid what you're worth. And you're worth so much more than you've been taking. And it's not anything wrong with being paid what you're worth. What that means is you're giving people what they pay for and then some. And as long as you're doing that, you could charge whatever you want. You have to find another way to deal with the fact that it bothers you that people can't get to you, because no matter what you do, the higher the quality of what you do, the fewer people are going to be inclined to get to it. He said, here's a problem. A bunch of the people you think can't afford you can. You can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink. He said, also, they're going to be inclined to get you to discount what you're offering to them, even if they see the value. Your job is to know your value, know what you're willing to do, know what you're not willing to do, and you need to do it. And so it led me to say, okay, I've got this segment to do tomorrow, Focus Fridays. And here's what I can tell you. And this isn't my normal animated self, because I want people to be able to understand that not everything is going to be delivered in an entertaining package. Not everything is going to be delivered in an emotional explosion. Not everything is going to be delivered in something that reaches out and grabs your attention. Sometimes you're going to have to take the tedious steps. You're going to have to take the things that don't seem as exciting. You're going to have to go down some paths that are intensely rigorous, and you're going to have to be willing to commit that. And the reason that we don't have as many people experiencing success, we got about maybe 5%, 4 to 5% per people are performing at a level that you would consider exceedingly above what the average is, exceptional. And everybody else starts to fall back into that, doing pretty good, average, below average. And it's not because the people who are doing better are actually better. It's because they're practicing something. It's because they've made commitments. It's because they've done something outside of the norm. They decided they wanted something more than what everyone else had. And they decided that they were willing to be committed enough to go out and get it. And so what I've learned in my time of doing what I do is that it's not that you need motivation. Let me tell you something. If you have anybody other than yourself depending on you, and you're talking about you need motivation, that's a problem. If there's just one person depending on you, a wife, a child, children, family, parents, aging parents, anybody depending on you, you don't need motivation. That's your motive right there. That's your motivation to get up and make something happen. So then if you don't need motivation, what is it? It's a lack of self-discipline. It's a lack of saying, this is what I need to do, so I'm going to go do it. It's a lack of a willingness to make a sacrifice and go out and make something happen in your life. It is a default of buying into the social norm that we pick up in school, that I can just be average and be good. I can be average and be successful. And they tell you that. They teach you that in school. They put in a mindset of you of doing just enough to get by, because they can use that just enough mentality when they plug you into entry-level jobs or mid-level jobs. And then you're wondering why you're hitting a glass ceiling in your company, because the higher level opportunities require a level of excellence. And see, those are the A students that showed up and studied and did all the things they should do in school, because it wasn't just enough for them to pass and be considered successful. They wanted to be excellent. There has to be a level of excellence in order for you to achieve some of these things. See, what we have to realize is we were put into a situation without understanding totally what it is. The entire public education system was not designed to prepare people to excel. It was designed to service people who were already excelling. People needed to be able to train you. So they needed you to have a certain level of uh, uh, trainability. They needed you to be able to read and write, to be able to understand materials, to be able to take instructions, to be able to follow written instructions. And so we created schools to service the industry. You got to understand that this company is a benefit of the Industrial Revolution. And in the Industrial Revolution, we saw manufacturing plants. We saw the creating of manufacturing plants and housing and industrial complexes that serviced and gave jobs. And it was great for everybody. Everybody was eating. But the problem is the people who exceeded and excelled were the people who came up with the ideas for the industries, the people who built the companies, the people who came in and helped them run the companies at an employee level benefited slightly, but nowhere near it. And it's because that mindset that brought them into school. I'm just going to learn and I'm going to do what? I'm going to get me a good job. This isn't in any way maligning having a job. It's the mindset you have when you have a job. See, if you have the right mindset when you have a job, at some point, there's going to be something in you that drives you that if I'm going to be here and have a job, I'm going to run the company. I'm not going to be happy until I get to the top, because there's something constantly driving me. There's something inside of me that's pushing me to excel. So if I'm going to work for someone else, I'm going to be the one who runs the company. And from that point on, I'm going to develop an understanding of so much that at some point in time, it's just going to be natural and obvious that I'm going to get out of here and run the company. And that is what we lack in great in great numbers is this desire to be excellent. And so you can sit up and consistently, and this is what the message that basically my mentor was trying to get me to understand is, they say, hey, you can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink. You can sit up and give them what they need, but if it isn't in them to be it, if it isn't in them to have it, if it isn't in them to do it, they'll get excited about it, because you have a way of making people get excited. They'll sit up and they'll talk about it, and they'll click the like button, they'll click the share button, but when it comes time to taking action, they won't do it because it's not here yet. They have to be thirsty enough that when you get them to the water, they start to drink. If they're not thirsty enough, if there's not something inside of them driving them to be better, to have better, to want better, to do better, if it's not something inside of them, and sometimes, and this is what I can tell you, that sometimes it's not that there isn't a desire, it's that the fear of what might go wrong is greater than the desire. See, there are some people that are literally focused on and desiring to do something above and beyond what they've done. And they have this fear. What if this happens? What if I fall flat on my face? What if I lose everything? What if people laugh at me? What if people look at me? What about my past? What if all of these things are creating this conglomerate fear that blocks you, and so you see it and you want it, and it's right there, but you're afraid that if you reach out and grab it, that something bad is going to happen. So you sit back into your corner of comfort, your place of familiarity, this place that you know you're not satisfied with it, you're not happy with it, but you know it. So you go, do you realize that at um, that there are actually 85% of the population in America are people who get up every day and go to a job that they hate. Now, I'm not talking about a job they're not satisfied with. I'm talking about terminology. In the studies that have been conducted, terminology, they are waking, 85% of the people are waking up going to a job they hate. See, this isn't about deriding people who want to work, because you have to work. And at some point, you are going to work for someone. And even if you own your own company and you're operating at a level where you're providing the services, you're working for someone, whatever your client comes in and contracts you to do, you're working for your client, but you still control the element and component. You create the dynamic and the rules. You are creating a passion, a flow that comes from your soul. So there's something driving you. It's yours. You're going to always have someone you're accountable to, even if you get to the point where you're hiring people, you're accountable to the people you hire. You're never at a point where you don't get to be accountable, but there's something about being accountable to yourself and what you created. But let me tell you something, there's nothing wrong with having a job. The thing is, are you happy with it? Are you satisfied with it? Can you see the long-term benefit of how it's going to provide the lifestyle you need for you and your family? Sometimes there are people making millions and millions of dollars on jobs, and they can sit up and take that those millions and make more millions and create a reality and a life for themselves that they don't mind getting up and going to work. It may be something they're passionate in, or it may just be so much money that they're going to sit down and deal with it. But normally, what 85% of the people in this country find themselves in a job that they're not happy with the salary, the job they're not happy with what they're doing, the job where they feel like they're not appreciated, a job where their bosses are buttholes, and I can go on and on. The people in the job are deflating spiritually because nobody seems to be striving for anything. Everybody's showing up in their worker bee mode, and everybody is just happy being there, and they're fighting over the crumbs. I want to be the team leader. I want to be that. It's nothing wrong with being the team leader as long as it doesn't become a permanent stop. You've got to have some ambition. You've got to have some desire. But here's the thing that most people don't understand, that it requires you to get outside of the box, to get outside of that mold of where you are 85%, you're part of that 85% that literally wake up every morning and go to a job you hate. I'm saying go. Nobody's going to pay your bills but you. Go do what you have to do. But what I'm saying is, if you hate what you're doing, you've got to be willing to engage that and say, I'm not going to spend my entire life doing something I hate. That is spiritual suicide. That's literally tearing you up on the inside, destroying. There's a reason why we're so unhealthy by the time we're 50. There's a reason why so many are dying so early. And it's not just because of poor eating. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. I can attest to that. But a lot of it is emotional stress. A lot of it is psychological stress that is superimposing itself on the body and creating physical stress, because the adrenal gland is secreting extraordinary amounts of cortisol and adrenaline for something that isn't even taking place. There's no life threat, but you are stressed out the moment you wake up every day to go to work. Do you know that 80%, if I'm remembering the study right, 80% of first-time heart attacks happen on Monday morning between the hours of 6 a.m. and 12 noon. Guess why? People are waking up to go to jobs they hate with an understanding they got an entire 5 days to deal with this crap before they get another break. That stress level goes up, the cortisol goes into the bloodstream, the adrenaline goes in the bloodstream, the heart starts to beat real fast. You're literally on the work and you're having a stress episode. You're in fight or flight mode just because you have to go to work. Well, then what do? You have to start coming up with a solution. You've got to come up with an exit strategy. I'm going to work this job for the next 2 years. In 2 years, I will have done this, this, and this, and I will have created a path out of this. Because another thing that happens is a lot of people that I've been able to work with are people who actually sit up and were thrust into greatness. And when I say thrust into greatness, what do I mean? I mean that they thought they had security. They weren't happy on their job. They always complained about it, but they never took any action to do anything about it. They got laid off. They got fired. The company closed down. And all of a sudden, bam, here I am. What do I do now? Yeah. The thing is, that thing that you think is safe, like I told you before, one of the things that I've done in my life is um, do work as a international relocation specialist. And I was the person who ended up with the contract to repatriate all the Enron executives after the company collapsed. I got to see what it looks like when you thought you had something that was going to sustain you for the rest of your life, and you were going to retire with your cute, nice little comfortable nest egg, and you realize you didn't have anything, and you spent the vast or your majority believing in something that wasn't there because it didn't belong to you. You didn't control it. You were trusting somebody else with your future. I got to see it firsthand. I'm telling you, it was crazy. I got to see people's lives completely devastated. I got to see people who thought they were set starting over in their 50s and a couple of them in their 60s because they didn't just lose their jobs. They had invested their retirement in Enron stock, which was zilch crap. What am I getting at? Opportunities are going to present themselves. This isn't about motivation. If you got somebody you love that depends on you, if you don't love yourself enough to do it for yourself, see, I love me enough that if I didn't have my family depending upon me, if I didn't have responsibilities outside of myself, I love myself enough that I want the best for myself. But if that's not the case, but if you've got one person depending on you, if you got a family member depending on you, if you got a loved one depending on you, you already have motivation. You just need to learn how to tap into it. You need to let it drive you enough. It needs to matter enough to you that it pushes you out of your comfort zone. It pushes you into a space where you are operating and doing the things that are necessary. I challenge you to focus yourself on a level that you start to see opportunities. I challenge you to focus yourself on a level where you start to see the times and places where you can move and you can operate and you can make moves and you can change your life. Let me tell you something. Changing your life isn't something that is going to happen because you wish for it. It falls out the sky and it comes risk-free. It doesn't happen. Changing your life is going to say you're going to have to make some moves that are uncomfortable. You're going to have to make some decisions that are that press you up against the wall. You're going to have to be willing to put yourself out there in order to have something. You're going to have to willingly invest. You're going to have to read more books. You're going to have to get into more programs. You're going to have to invest money in learning, developing, and growing. You're going to have to put some skin in the game. You're going to have to be willing to put down some of that leisure time, that time that doesn't have any intrinsic value that you're wasting every day. You have 86,400 seconds in a day. How you use that time is going to determine the outcome of your life. It's that simple. What are you doing in your 86 for? I'm not saying that 86.4 is going to be spent working. No, because some of it's going to be spent sleeping and recovering. You need to rest. Rest is so important to being at the optimal level you need to be at to do the best work. So you need rest. You're going to also need some time to fellowship and love on family members, friends, and loved ones. You need to have those encounters. But when it's time to work, you got to put some skin in the game. You got to be up before the competition. You got to be going in and you need to have more work done before the average person wakes up than if you really than what they're going to get all day. You're going to have to be willing to have that type of commitment if you're going to step outside of average, if you're going to step outside of mediocre, no matter what you do. And then even if you're talking about going into business, are you going to be a mediocre business owner? You're going to be a mediocre service provider. You're going to be a mediocre product distributor. Whatever it is that you want to do in business, or are you going to be the person that's waking up, that's going to go the extra mile, that the person is going to sit up and say when they're done with you, I love that experience. I love that encounter. It wasn't just about what I got out of it. It was how I was handled. It was how I'm delivering in quality. I'm delivering in direct engagement. I'm giving you something. That's the kind of thing you're going to have to want to do. See, I can tell you, if you're not excelling on the job, the chance of you excelling in business is going to be a problem because there's a certain level of drive. There's a certain level of consistency. There's a certain level of commitment that you have to have because see, nobody's going to call you if you don't show up. Nobody's going to write you up if you don't show up. You're just going to lose clients if you have any. And if you don't have any, you won't ever get any, because everybody that's out there really striving to gain and acquire clients are going to get to them before you do, because you're chilling. Told me yesterday, Rick, come on. You can lead them to the water. You can lead a horse to the water, but hey, it's going to be up to the horse to partake of the blessing. It's going to be up to the horse to consume the nutrients. It's going to be up to the horse to make the move. You can't lead them to the water and then entice them to drink it. You have to trust that they are thirsty enough that when you get them to the water, they'll drink. Only the thirsty will drink it. So I've decided that I've got to trust the work I've put in. And trust me, I've put in work. There's so much content. I sit down with the marketing team earlier this week, and they're going, you have so much content. Just organizing it and getting it into place and repurposing it and restructuring it and doing some post-production work on it. We've got material for years. And we're going to bring you in and we're going to do more stuff with you. We're going to shoot some more quality, polished stuff for you. But you've got so much stuff that we can sit up and package this stuff and create it and put it in ways that we're going to bless people for years. You are good. You can focus on being on the stage because everything else is here. We're going to put it together. That's because I woke up every morning and I put in the work. Sometimes I couldn't get an understanding of why things were moving so slowly, but I woke up in the morning and I put in the work. You're going to have to make up in your mind when you're tired enough. You're going to have to make up in your mind when you're hungry enough. You're going to have to make up in your mind when you're thirsty enough. You're going to have to make up in your mind when you look and say, you know what, it's time for me to make a move. That's going to be up to you. Look, on that note, I'm about to get off of here. I've got a bunch of other stuff I've got to get done. Got a hell of a weekend ahead of me, but I needed to stop in. It's Focus Fridays. I can't wait to get back to you Monday. Monday. We're going to talk about some element or component of generating revenue. And I am excited about what's coming. I want you to get excited about life too, because here's the thing. No matter where you're at, you have the capacity to take life to the next level. But it's going to be up to you. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I'm challenging you to take the same mindset. Don't leave your potential untapped. Don't take that potential to the grave. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare take what God gave you and not work it. And if you work it, it's going to produce something beyond average, something beyond mediocre, something great, something extraordinary. It's your responsibility, though, to tap into it. As I said at the beginning of the video, there are two offers in there. One, to work with me. The other, to have my company, Myriad Business Solutions, create a business for you. And we are going to stay with you until the business turns a profit. So the money you're going to spend with us, we're going to stay with you till you earn that money back. Then we're going to turn around and stay with you an additional year as a consultant. So it's there. If you want it, it's there. But you have to want it. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day.